What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing 3 new to me mascaras, which is kind of a big deal for me. I have been using the same mascara for, I think I'm going on 3 years at this point. I talked about the L'Oréal Voluminous Lash Paradise in not one, but 2 best of annual videos. Recently, I've had new mascaras come into my life through press samples. I have the Urban Decay Lash Freak, which is a brand new mascara, the Pixi Large Lash Mascara, which I don't think is new, as well as the Ofra HD Volumizing Mascara, which I also don't think is new, but a new selection to me, and I don't know what compelled me to, but I tried them. Oftentimes I will just donate new mascaras that I get that I'm not really feeling inclined to try, but something inside was just like, go for it. And so I did, and this is going to be not only reviewing these, but comparing them to my old favorite, and are they actually going to be good enough to get me to abandon this longtime favorite? Stay tuned to find out. Okay, real quick, I want to show you what Voluminous Lash Paradise looks like on my lashes so you can understand why I like this and used it for so long. It adds volume to my lashes, especially at the base. It curls them slightly. I wouldn't say it's a curling mascara. It's mostly there for volume, a little bit of length. And what I noticed, especially after comparing them to these upcoming 3 mascaras, is that it makes my lashes look almost feathery. It adds volume to them in a way that they look wispy and feathery and not just chunky, if you catch my drift. So and it lasts. I mean, without saying, a mascara has to last all day for me. I don't need a waterproof formula. In fact, I really don't like waterproof formulas because I just find them to be really harsh on my lashes, especially in the removal process. So I find that this mascara lasts on me without flaking or running throughout the day, and it's good. It gets the job done in that way. So with that in mind, let's talk about these other new mascaras. Okay, now let's talk about Urban Decay's Lash Freak, because this is the one that intrigued me the most because of the wand. It's a relatively unique and potentially innovative wand, since I've never seen anything quite like it. On one end, you have a slightly angled comb, and then there is sort of a rounded, not quite ball, so rounded tip, additionally with more densely packed combs all over it. And then on the other end, it's entirely bare. There are no combs here, and I threw away the press materials. They sent this to me, and I threw the press materials away. I thought they mentioned there was a reason that this is left without product, that it gets almost fully cleaned every time you take it out of the tube. But I just checked online, on the Ulta website, where they sort of explain the benefits, all that kind of stuff, and I'm not finding anything. So I don't know if that's done intentionally or if that's just a consequence of the shape of the brush and it going into the tube. If you have found a use for it, let us know down in the comments below. But basically, the curved comb is supposed to help, evenly coat your lashes and potentially even curl your lashes. And then that ball tip is meant to separate your lashes, but I have to say that anytime I've ever used this, and I think you'll be able to see it in the close-up of it, there's quite the accumulation of product here on the ball tip. So unless you kind of go and clean it off here on the inside of the tube, you're gonna be looking at applying even more product before you get to that separation stage. This is supposed to be a volumizing and a lengthening mascara, and on me, I felt like it did more volumizing and did it in a way where it kind of made my lashes clumpy, not too clumpy. I didn't think it looked bad, but especially comparing it to my Voluminous Lash Paradise, where it manages to make them look still like individual distinct lashes, but just with a little bit more bulk to the lash size. This sort of clumped my lashes together to achieve that volume. And even though that tip is meant to help separate your lashes, it took quite a bit of work, for me anyway, to do that. And so that might just be, maybe this is a formula that needs to dry out a little bit more. It is kind of on the drier side to begin with, but even my L'Oreal, once it dries out, I find it gets better with age. And so maybe this is the same way, where once it dries out, it's a lot easier to separate your lashes throughout that drying process. And additionally, it's going to be, that ball tip is going to be great for applying to the lower lashes, getting that more precise application there as well. Then the last thing I want to mention is that this is supposed to be a long wear, 20-hour wear mascara, is I think what they mentioned, at least on the product page and probably in the promo materials. And I have to say, say of all the formulas I'm going to talk about here today, this definitely felt most like a waterproof formula in how kind of hard it dried down, how much more challenging it was to get off my lashes. It wasn't as hard to get off my lashes as a waterproof formula. Like my eyes didn't feel sort of like they've gone through this intense cleansing process in order to get all the product off, but there was just something about the way this dried down and then wore throughout the day that it just felt closer to a waterproof formula than anything else I've ever felt a more, like normal or traditional formula feel like in a mascara. Ultimately though, I still prefer my L'Oréal Voluminous Lash Paradise over the Lash Freak from Urban Decay, but I do still want to see how this formula ages if as it dries out, it gets to be a little bit better at separating the lashes and giving me that feathery look that I love so much about the L'Oréal, because I do think this has some serious potential with the wand, with how closely spaced those teeth are. It's just not doing it for me now for as wet as the formula is. So that's that. Next up, let's talk about the what? I got L'Oreal on the brain. The Pixi Large Lash Mascara. This has more of a traditional wand, although it is like XXL. It's, cylindrical, has a tapered tip. You gotta wipe off that excess product at the end. But this I thought was gonna come closest to that L'Oreal because the bristles are so densely packed and so thin that I thought they were gonna really coat my lashes, give them that volume without clumping them together. So I still got that wispiness that I like from the L'Oreal, but it too didn't quite separate my lashes like I wanted it to. And of all three of these, I found that this helped with curl the least, which again is not something that I absolutely look for in a mascara, but it is nice to have. Like, I do notice it when it's not there. So maybe I do look for curl and I just haven't appreciated that my mascaras have given it to me. All in all, this I would say is my least favorite of the new mascaras that I have tried. Although it does, it dries down the softest of all, except for the L'Oreal, that's probably the softest. But of the three new ones I've tried, the Pixi definitely dries down the softest. It's more comfortable on the lashes as a result because they don't feel like stiff or crunchy or anything like that. So it does have that going for it. I just didn't love the effects it gave my lashes, especially compared to the other two that I've tried. Now last up, let's talk about the Ofra HD Volumizing Mascara. Now this one really surprised me. It has a thin wand, still tapered, but more like a football shaped almost. It's taper on either end, widest in the center, and has relatively short bristles, which I kind of thought would lead to more of that clumping, because when you don't have those long bristles to really get up in your lashes and like comb them out, I thought that was going to lead to a lot of clumping. And again, in comparison to L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise, it does give me a chunkier sort of lash vibe, but I was impressed with how it curled my lashes. Although maybe I'm mistaking curl for lengthening here. I just remember looking at, I took screenshots when I tried all of these on, and next to all of them, I felt like the Ofra made my lashes look a lot longer, and it looked like it was due to curling, but it also could just be an overall lengthening sort of thing as well. Either way, I really like this formula, and it's already on the drier side to begin with, so I've had this open probably the longest of my new mascaras, almost a month at this point, and so I feel like this is kind of where mascara starts to hit its stride, but I really haven't noticed the consistency with this changing hardly at all. So maybe the fact that it's naturally drier is going to give you a more consistent performance over the life of this mascara, which I think is pretty good. It's not as good as my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise, though. I don't know, what do you think? You can see all of the before and afters here and compare all of the mascaras side by side, but I just feel like, I've been repeating it over and over again. I feel like nothing gives me the volume and wispiness that the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise mascara does. So that's it. That was my big kind of mascara trial. Did I forget anything? Oh, yes, I did forget one thing. The Urban Decay Lash Freak, the only mascara I noticed this with, and the only mascara I've noticed this with in a long time, is a scent. When was the last time you smelled your mascara? But this smells like floral, and I don't mean like artificial floral. I mean like you could go outside and smell a fresh flower and it smells like this, like a rose almost. So I wonder if it's scented or fragranced or anything like that. I don't know, and I'm sure your eyelids can be sensitive to those fragrances, so maybe an FYI, or I guess let me know if you've noticed it. I have not really noticed any scents with my mascaras, but this one really stood out to me. So Just a fun fact, maybe a useful fact if you tend to stay away from fragrances, that that might be something you don't love about this. But that, I believe, is everything I wanted to share in this video about my recent mascara journey. Let me know what mascaras you've been loving down in the comments below, and let me know if you enjoy this sort of side-by-side comparison, maybe trying tried and true favorites for me against some of the newer things that I have coming up to kind of see how they withstand. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!